Hi, this is Tim Torres, and this is the best damn video game podcast ever on 2dx.com. And with me today, we have.
Gabriel Zamora. I'm the features editor at 2dx.com.
Isaac Rouse, the community manager for 2dx.com.
Jeffrey Wilson, editor-in-chief, 2DX.
Tatjana Vejnovic, managing editor of 2DX.
Will Greenwald, don't have anything specifically to do with 2DS, but I'm here with my colleague, Al Simmons.
My name is Al Simmons, not Spawn. And today we're talking about Nintendo. They seem to be in dire straits, or at least that's what the overwhelming consensus is online and on business sites all over, including Bloomberg and even Forbes. They cut down their forecast, their sales forecast, by a huge percentage from 9 million units sold to, I think the number was 2.8 million. So naturally that's causing a panic all over. Everyone is saying they're doomed. I guess my first question is are they doomed?
No.
Sega is still around.
Okay.
Yes and no. Nintendo probably has enough money in there to fail a few more times, but in terms of failed and being relevant and having the market share, I think they are.
I think they say they have a war chest, some kind of metaphorical war chest. I mean, they made a killing off the Wii, and people have been saying they were going to die because of all sorts of reasons when the Wii was out, and since 1996 when the Nintendo 64 was out. So to me, this is like the cycle repeating itself. Like this is what Nintendo does. They're a roller coaster company. They do really well, really poorly, according to most people, and really well again, and over and over and over. So I guess my next question is: do you think, Will, you said Sega's still around? Are you implying Nintendo will adapt and move to third-party software, or?
Oh, implying that Nintendo would adapt to anything is kind of ridiculous, but I'm just pointing out that Sega is still a functioning company after all of its colossal failures. I think Nintendo can take a few more hits and still be relevant.
Yeah, that relevancy is a big problem. It's horrible when your own son doesn't even bother with your own products. Because the president is gone to say that his 10-year-old son doesn't even care about his own Wii U, and his father is the president of the company. That's horrible. It sounds like almost sounds like Hideo Kojima's son who hates Metal Gear.
Wouldn't you, if you were his son?
Yeah, I would. You spend more time with Solid Snake than me.
Do you think Iwata should leave? Do you think that would even matter? Do you think that whole he should step down because of his crushing failure?
Personally, I don't think so. Personally, I think that I just think fans, they don't want the Wii U. I mean, they don't want this innovation that Nintendo constantly tries to shove down people's throats. I think they want something a little more next-gen feeling. They don't have a presence in next-gen talk or discussion at all. I think the only thing that they do have relevant hardware-wise is 3DS, and that's even taking a hit. And I just think they should focus on the 3DS before it gets to the point where they can no longer put out hardware and are forced to just sell products.
I think the problem is that Nintendo hasn't given us a reason to care about the Wii U. The 3DS, on the other hand, has a pretty good supply of software for the last year and a half, maybe even 2 years, and lots of companies supporting it. The Wii U, on the other hand, has been a wasteland, and it's taken too long to develop those games that are there to snare people. We finally got Super Mario World 3D World, a great game, but that should have been Wii U Year 1 launch title.
Absolutely, and going back to a quote from my NAC review, I said that most console launches have been prequels, sequels, sports games, and ports, and a lot of that was the Wii U. You had Mass Effect 3, the Madden, the zombie U that wasn't that good, and it was just like they came out with, yes, like a good deal of stuff, but it wasn't anything anybody cared about. And we've been expecting all these things like Bayonetta 2. I think I've seen a release date for it 4 different times. The new Super Smash Brothers, like even Mario Kart 8 recently became reservable at your local retailers. Like they kind of seem scatterbrained. Like they want to do things, but they don't have a plan. Almost like everyone is on a different page and they can't get on the same page.
Yeah, they were pretty much riding on the coattails of the Wii. And that's why the Wii U has its name, and that clearly confused everybody. Because yeah, they totally screwed the pooch as far as marketing goes. Because people still think it's an accessory or some kind of add-on for the Wii, which everyone already put in their closet by now. They, from the gate, right out of the gate, remember that E3? We were sitting there and we were just like, what is this still? They never clearly communicated exactly what it could be. Even though I just got one and I see the appeal. I love not having to turn on my TV. Like, and this isn't just Nintendo either. Everyone this generation, especially Microsoft, just cannot communicate for shit as far as what their system is or isn't.
I think the problem is that they strive to be so much more than video game consoles that they have trouble defining what the console is. Nintendo is merging motion control with the video game console with this new way of looking at TV. Microsoft is going TV. Sony, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But
Sony's unique.
We don't have a focus, it seems, on this is a video game console. And this is one of the reasons why I don't want to open this can of worms that I pulled out of consoles. It's just too much madness, and I wish there was more of a focus.
I think that's the opposite problem of Nintendo, because it's clear they make game consoles. They make these little entertaining things you play on and play mostly Nintendo first-party games on, maybe some ports, but Nintendo consoles are for Nintendo games. Their problem is that they lag, at this point, almost a decade behind every other company that has figured out, hey, we have this thing called the internet, we need to bring together the experience in a way that makes things accessible. They've been chipping at it in such this bizarre way, I can't even call it half-assing, they've been percentage-assing very slowly over like months and years. And okay, look at the 3DS. You can download stuff online, that's a fundamental thing, the Wii had it, the DSi had it. You can update games by flipping through a few menus, but you're not going to know if they're updated unless you check the notifications. It's like there's nothing that ties the game into the system in a clear way. And the most useful and most commonly used feature, not useful, but most commonly used, Street Pass, which is not even online. It's just local. It's a very clever, very novel way of using wireless, but it's not online. It's just kind of a gimmick that has really caught on if you've been to PAX East or E3.
Yeah.
Tons of people doing Street Pass checks, but that cannot replace having a Nintendo Online, a Nintendo Live, Nintendo Network, something that is not, I think, completely beyond Nintendo as it is now, what they can perceive. They can't comprehend doing that.
Yeah, that's a big problem. There was a report posted on Eurogamer, right, where apparently it was revealed where no one developing the Wii U even had any experience with Xbox Live or PSN.
Yeah.
Which is a little nutsy. They do seem a little insular. They seem a little cut off from the rest of the world, which is unfortunate. But I think this is good for them, because when game companies are in panic mode, that's when they shift into gear and actually solve problems. Microsoft did it with Xbox One. Sony took a great advantage of that with their E3 announcements, and Nintendo did the same basic thing with 3DS. They cut the price. They actually finally released worthwhile games. And do you think they'll do the same thing with Wii U? Price cut?
The Wii U priced at right now, $300 still.
It's still $250 for the 8 gig, and then $300 for the 32.
If the Wii U was priced at $200, I would begin to think about it. because there are a few upcoming games that I do want. The Bayonetta 2, Smash, but $250 for a Wii U is a little bit, or $300 is a little bit high for me.
Incidentally, now's the perfect time for Sony to announce the PS Vita TV would come out in America.
Oh, yeah.
That would undercut them, it would kick the Ouya, but Sony has their own Nintendo-like problems with comprehending what people might want here.
How do you guys feel about this new quote-unquote business structure that they can have taken where they're looking to expand their software on smart devices and stuff like that?
I think it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
I really okay. Let's rewind here to about 2009 and look at the PlayStation Portable phone. That thing was a piece of shit. I mean, it really was. It ran off Android. It was a piece of shit. The emulators didn't work right. Like, the phone was always crashing. It performed poorly. It lagged. No one wants a video game phone anymore. It was a thing for a little bit, but no one wants that anymore. We have our tablets and our phones for our casual games that we like to play. For Nintendo to spend God knows how much money on engineering their own phone and their own OS for it and their own damn software for it,
Wait,
it's going to put them
doing?
more. That's what I understand.
I mean, that could be an option. I think I agree with you. It would be a horrible option. I think a more realistic.
Horrible.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah. I mean, if they were to do that, I could see like a version of the Nintendo eShop on existing marketplaces like Android, like iTunes, where you could download some kind of appetizer Mario game.
No.
Whatever that would be.
That would be Nintendo running away from the one thing they consistently hit out of the park. Portable games that aren't on mobile devices. You have physical controls, you play like an actual satisfying Mario game, Shin Megami Tensei, Pokemon, you have stuff on the go. For them to say, okay, wow, we really screwed the pooch with the Wii U, we are not doing a whole lot of home consoles, what should we do? Oh yeah, let's present some more competition for our 3DS.
No, I agree with you, that makes perfect sense.
So
yeah.
And it would be expensive. Let's
extremely.
really think about it. Like, from a GameStop perspective, Mario Party 8 on the Wii is still $40 used. Okay, what's it gonna cost to put an older Mario Party on the Android marketplace or the Apple Store? Way too much. And I hate to bring this up, but look at Square. Final Fantasy V cost what, like? Was it like $25 or $20 on the Android?
Final Fantasy VI for Android just came out, and I think its price was $16, and people are buying it because people are complaining about it and how it sucks, and I'm like, well, why'd you buy it?
$16.
Why is that on the iTunes Store for that much? You can get like 7 and 8 on Steam with, kind of high def graphics. I mean, it can process the 3D in that level, so the textures are still bad. But I mean, for $12 each.
There was that other one that they did too that I can't remember what it was called, but it was like $30, and it's like that's what Nintendo would do. Nintendo would have a $30 price point for their fucking games, and it'd just be like, I'm not paying $30 for a game on my phone.
Yeah, it would be terrible. Mobile gaming, is there even a market for games of that quality on in the mobile gaming marketplace? Like, it's always, at least to date, it's always just simple time-wasting stuff. You're never going to see anything like Mario 3D.
And even look at the other way around. But look at the other way around. Angry Birds is $50 for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, you were going to say?
There definitely is a space for more console-like games on mobile platforms. I mean, Rockstar keeps putting their games. I mean, they just released, I think, San Andreas onto Android, maybe iOS too. Right. I mean, I'm not disregarding the quality of those games. There probably is a market for a console-like experience on mobile games. And if Nintendo did go this route, who's to say that they would make a Super Mario game as we know it on a smartphone? It could be a more casual version of a Super Mario Bros. Game. But if you want the full experience, you have to go to a 3DS to get the full Mario experience.
Yeah, but that's like saying, hey, you need other hardware to get a preview of what you get if you buy our hardware. It's an extra weird step, and I don't think it would really work for them. especially because the casual games translate well on the 3DS. I mean, if a Dr. Mario would work right on the 3DS, just like it would work pretty well on an iPad, but you'd also be able to play Pokemon and Mario.
I think what they're trying to do with this move is just revert back to getting those casual players that pretty much aren't jumping ship to the Wii U. Nothing?
Can you repeat that for our discerning audience?
Oh, no, I'm just saying I think with this move to smartphones that Nintendo are trying to revert back to getting those casual players for the casual players that aren't jumping ship over to the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, they tried, they had their shot with the casual players. That was what Wii was all about.
Yeah.
And they all don't care anymore. Or at least have moved on to smartphones, or if they are core, they moved on to PS4, Xbox One, which are basically inferior PCs. I think the Wii U, I would love for it to survive because it's you can't get that experience anywhere else. Nothing else has a gamepad as of now.
I'd like to see it survive, but I think realistically, Nintendo needs to, keep sort of trudging forward with the Wii U if they can afford it. But they need to look at, say, what's going to come after the 3DS and figure out how they can keep going with the momentum they have in massive amounts in the portable gaming market, because the 3DS is the portable gaming system. And they need to figure out, okay, what are we going to do after 3DS starts to age?
Speaking of that, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I'm not thinking they're going to be flattering at all, but did anyone see, the expectation for 2DS sales versus actual? Because I
Really?
personally thought that was one of the dumbest ideas Nintendo has ever, executed.
It was kind of like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think
didn't.
it made sense. I don't think, again, I think they're terrible at communicating what these things are.
Yeah.
I mean, their marketing is pretty awful. You compare it to something like Apple. Well, Apple doesn't even need marketing at this point. But I mean, the 3DS and the Wii and the DS were just they came out at the exact right time, and they are probably two of the top-selling consoles of their kind ever. And comparing the Wii U and 3DS to them just seems like it's not fair. I mean, Nintendo is clearly behind. What do you think Nintendo should do?
I don't know.
Nintendo
Maybe
needs
observe.
a console that has modern hardware. That'll
Yes.
help a lot because, say for example, you're Ubisoft and you're making a game for the PS4 that uses the whole 8 billion bits of RAM in that system. How do you scale that down to the Wii U?
That's a huge problem because they're gonna miss. They do have a lot of first-party titles, Bayonetta 2, Smash Bros., but they're gonna miss out on Witcher 3, Titanfall, Dragon Age, new whatever, Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy. I mean, tons of multi-platform titles that everyone wants are not going to be on Wii U.
And I mean, Nintendo
Even
promised.
Tomb Raider and Thief.
Yeah.
Nintendo needs to drop this whole cutesy Miiverse stuff and just say, okay, we're going to catch up to what we've been missing ever since Microsoft in the first Xbox put together a service. Because they are doing this weird piecemeal beast that is not coming together. And like Miiverse, it kind of is the perfect example of how Nintendo is so completely out of touch with what online features need. It's like, you can communicate to random people and kind of your friends maybe through these little banners that you can make with stamps and drawing stuff, and we won't let you draw dicks on them. And also, you can't do email or video chat. But there's a camera on the Wii U gamepad, but something, and by the way, it's still going to be hard for you to know if any of your friends are online.
I think they leave a lot of money on the table, in those online things and the things that you can do in their store and stuff. For example, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but at GameStop, for example, for the new Wii Fit U, you can only buy the standalone game. You cannot buy the bundle. And here's why. Because GameStop apparently has, heavy stock in the used balance boards. But instead of but a lot of stores don't. So instead of saying, all right, we're just going to give GameStop this, why not try and say, okay, let's help each other out. Buy one bundle with the balance board and get a pre-owned one half off. So you can have two people play Wii Fit U together like you can anyways. Like, why wouldn't they come up with some sort of compromise with all these other places and some sort of deal to help them out? Because to me, that's leaving money on the table.
Ooh. Consumer friendliness. That they could, the whole industry can take several steps towards that. But Nintendo could definitely do that. Better.
Working for that company for 4 years, Nintendo was the worst.
Oh, how do you mean? Can you elaborate?
When when you were able to purchase the digital stuff in stores initially, they just kind of threw it there. They didn't explain it to us. They didn't give us marketing elements that explained it. Like with Sony, for example, you have on the back of your card, this is what you do. You do this step by step by step. Nintendo's is like, go to eShop and spend money with this code on the bottom of your receipt, or this card. Like, it's just, they didn't advertise what else you can do besides buy these little specific games that they had boxes for. They just threw it in there that you can now buy things digitally direct with a code on your receipt. They didn't properly. When I've never, like, for example, also ever seen a Wii U commercial. I've seen Xbox One commercials. I've seen PS4 commercials. I've seen commercials for PS4 and Xbox games.
Yeah.
They don't advertise either. And again, that's money on the table.
It's pretty ridiculous, and they could do it so easily, too. There's a commercial in my head where you have, like, a family, and one guy's like, oh, the Super Bowl's on, or the football game is on. The dad wants to watch football, but the kid's playing Mario 3D Land, or 3D World, rather. And you just show the kid playing the same game on the TV, on the gamepad. Boom, your message is right there. You could play games without the TV. That in itself is pretty fantastic.
And I mean, what, a 30-second commercial, really? Like,
yeah.
They just leave money on the table in so many different places. Advertising, consumer friendliness, proper retail marketing, and just being thorough with their communication and all those aspects. It's just all a mess.
I thoroughly believe that all three consoles launched too early, and I think Nintendo was suffering the most from it. They really had nothing at launch. I mean, say what you will about the Xbox One and PS4, but at least they had some attractive elements. The Wii U at the launch was pretty much a wasteland for me.
Does it feel like the Wii U is 14 months old?
No.
Yeah, it feels like it just came out.
Yeah.
They're still making baby steps.
In terms of the technology, I feel it's like 4 years old.
Yeah. I still can't get past their problems with online stuff. Like you were talking about the eShop things. It even gets worse for the consumer after they buy the game because it is registered to that system specifically. There's no account.
Yeah.
And you can transfer it by doing a complete system ghosting. If you get a 3DS and move on to a 3DS XL, you need to sort of have both of them sitting on a table and connected to the internet so they can copy everything over. And it did the same ridiculous
here's the
thing.
Thing with that too, is because you don't have an account with them. You just have that Wii. So I had a friend, and he had a Wii, and I'm saying that this guy spent hundreds, if not $1,000, on eShop downloads.
Whoa.
His Wii took a shit. Okay? His Wii took a shit. And he was like, okay, I need to buy a new one. Buys the new red special edition one and goes, this is before they did the ghosting thing. There was no way of him to transfer. He called Nintendo and was like, I have spent at least, X amount of hundreds of dollars on downloading almost every single one of these games. What can you do for me? And Nintendo went, sucks to be you, bro.
Really?
That's a scary story.
That is frightening. I
swear
paranoid.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like, he had to, he ended up, I think, keeping the defunct system, But it was like they said, tough shit, you gotta buy it again. He's like, I've been a loyal customer since the original Nintendo. I have bought every Nintendo console, spent God knows how much money, and you're telling me there is nothing you can do. And
Okay.
Nintendo said no.
That's the first thing they have to fix, is they have to make some kind of
Is that
account, some kind of thing that unifies both the Wii U and 3DS, your purchases on both systems. Because if you buy Earthbound on one, you should be able to play Earthbound on the other.
They only just now, like a few months ago, said, "Oh, you have money on your 3DS and money on your Wii U? We'll combine them." Like a few months ago, and they didn't really tell anybody. And it was like, "Oh, hey, look, now I have slightly more in my account because it's combined. Yay!"
Yeah, I wish it was possible to transfer Wii points from the original Wii over to Wii U and/or 3DS.
Like Microsoft did.
Yeah,
and Sony did?
Like,
Yeah.
say how, no matter what crap you might say about Sony and Microsoft, if I buy a game on PSN or if I buy a game on Xbox Live, I will keep it even if I get a new system. And that's honestly one of the things that made the Vita and does make the Vita TV appealing to me. That, assuming you can access the online store in the North America, because we imported a Vita TV and you can't yet, it's a problem. But assuming it comes out in the U.S., the games I got for the Vita and for the PSP back in the day, and certain PS3 games, PS1 classics, I can download it to that tiny-ass little box because it's on my account, because there's a record of how much I have spent as me, not as this system.
Preach on, brother, preach on.
Like, the Nintendo's does less than my smartphone at this point. You know?
Absolutely.
My smartphone has better management of my games than the Nintendo Wii U, and that's a shame.
My iPad does too.
But what games are you playing besides Candy Crush on those things?
I'm playing Crazy Taxi, brother.
You're playing a 15-year-old Sega game.
But can you play a Nintendo game there?
Crazy Taxi, awesome.
They got emulators, right?
Okay. Earlier, Jeff mentioned Rockstar put out Grand Theft Auto. Besides, sad Dreamcast nerds like Jeff who play Crazy Taxi on their phone, I honestly want to know people who buy Grand Theft Auto for their phone or their tablet, of which there are tons, no question, who plays them? What's the
horrible controls?
Exactly.
Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, and that's why 3DS is not going to go away.
Yeah.
3DS is not going to go away because, thank God, it has buttons.
Yeah.
You can play your games the way they're supposed to be played.
And thank God it has buttons because it has a resistive touchscreen. It is like a touchscreen from 2004.
Yeah, they definitely have to upgrade. That definitely goes without saying. I mentioned emulating games before. They gotta do something to their virtual console service because it is pathetic.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre because they started this whole idea back when the Wii came out. Is, hey, we have a whole history of video games here. Let's release that and make more money off of it. Sony is about to pass them with the PlayStation Now.
Yeah. Nintendo would make so much money in the long term, even though, of course, they went, we're making our money with virtual console games because apparently if someone spends $300, they have to buy them twice. That really sucks.
Right.
But if they had a Nintendo Plus type thing, when it was okay.
Yes.
We're going to give you a subscription. You give us some money. We will actually put together a online service that doesn't look like it's a BBS. And so we'll have like a rotating library of, say, 12 or 24 virtual console games. Not even like, indie downloadable full games. Just like, okay, here are a few Super Nintendo games. Here's some NES. Here's some TurboGrafx-16, some Genesis.
Yeah.
$8 a month.
N64.
Yeah. It'd be like, awesome. It's like having my own rotating game library of classic shit.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic. That's why Nintendo needs to stay, I think, in the business, first of all, in the console business, because this might be controversial, Sony, Microsoft fans, but Nintendo pretty much started this whole virtual console thing, the whole motion thing.
Yeah.
They need to stay so that they could keep doing stuff like that, and so that other companies can look at it and say, oh, that's awesome, let's improve upon it.
Yeah, Nintendo has screwed up a lot, but in fairness, they've also innovated a lot.
Yeah,
they screw up
D-pad,
as often as they do.
The shoulder buttons. They're there because of the original NES and
D-pad,
SNES.
shoulder button, rumble, analog stick on a gamepad.
Yeah.
Even, classic games. I mean, remember how hype Super Mario All-Stars or like the Ninja Gaiden trilogy was, and that was just a generation before. Then they put it on the Super Nintendo. It's like, oh, cool. Older games, but all in like one little package.
So staying on this note, do you think Nintendo's doing anything correct with this generation?
No.
I I love the gamepad. I think they probably overshot how important tablets were going to be as far as gaming goes. But the ability to play the console without the need for an HD TV, I think, is pretty fantastic.
But that's inconsistent. Not all games support that.
That's true. That's true, and that's why. That's also why I don't think people keep saying drop the gamepad, drop the gamepad. I think that's ridiculous because you're dropping the one thing that sets it apart from everything else.
Yeah, but imagine if look at the Vita versus the Vita TV, which I'm still preaching as would be awesome. They took away the gamepad, it would take away this sort of unique thing. But if it let them cut the price down to the Wii, but have this actual like HD graphics, because let's face it, that's cheap now.
Let's compromise. Let's have them sell a package without the gamepad, but the gamepad is now its own box, its own peripheral.
Yeah, or they do a bundle. They still have the Wii U, but they also have the Wii U Lite, which is just a little box you can plug in and have a gamepad plugged into it.
Can you even buy a separate gamepad at this point?
Nope.
No, and you were supposed to be able to because the Wii U is supposed to support 2 of them. And they said before it came out, we will soon after launch have the ability to sell additional gamepads.
You know, I guess 2 years in the scope of Infinity is kind of soon. So they're right.
We're going to Infinity now.
Yeah.
Right. I think Nintendo's going to be fine.
Speaking of Infinity, is there any circumstance where you could imagine Nintendo releasing an iOS or Android app for second screen functionality like Xbox and PS4 have? Is there any parallel universe where they would do that, where they would show the capability of thinking of doing it?
That requires them tapping into knowledge of the internet, and they've proven incapable of doing that.
It's like, does Nintendo even know what the internet is?
Nintendo's the really cool grandpa who's starting to kind of forget too many things.
That's a pretty good way to put it, actually. They do need new blood in more ways than one. New IPs, new games. I love Mario. I love Zelda. I love Smash Brothers.
Tired of seeing them though.
You're tired of seeing them?
I'm tired of it being the sole reason I would want a Wii U. You know what I mean? There's like 15, 20-year franchises that I just want to keep revisiting. Are the only reasons that I would even entertain buying a Wii U. I want something fresh, something different for me to get a Wii U, except for Mario and Zelda and all that other junk.
I agree. It's like, I mean, the Wonderful 101 was a bad attempt at doing it, and they sold 50 to 100 copies in the first week.
Wow.
Well, to be fair, it was released on a system nobody had.
Yeah.
It was like they were trying to make it seem super cool, and it wasn't. Again, I didn't even really understand what the Wonderful 101 was. I played the demo, I went to like the showcase for it, and I was like,
It's a hardcore game for hardcore gamers, Todd. That's
no.
It actually is though. Like it looks all cutesy, but it's like
God,
complicated character action game.
Yeah.
It has beef to it. It's just you don't see the beef unless you play it for like 5 hours.
When you start unlocking the abilities,
it's really good.
It gets good.
It's platinum.
But what is it? I still don't. You're still not telling me what the Wonderful 101 is.
Pikmin meets Power Rangers.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's upsetting because it's like it needs new games, it needs new blood, but people need to buy the system first. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It needs to have games, but in order for that to happen, people have to buy the system.
Well, to buy the system, they need to have good features people want.
Last year, Gabe and I spent lots of time in the Nintendo showcase of E3, and they were showcasing Bayonetta and a bunch of other games that some of which came out in 2013. What's coming out in 2014 that will entice people to purchase a Wii U?
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Probably Smash Brothers and
Smash,
Bayonetta. Smash Brothers is going to sell, I think.
Not even if it's going to be on the 3DS more, because most people are going to be like, oh, I can just buy it on my 3DS.
That's me.
Probably. I mean, the 3DS I don't think is in as much danger at all. It's selling well.
No, absolutely not.
It's not selling really well. Wii U is not selling well at all. So, and I think that's why Hyrule Warriors was announced.
Yeah.
Which
That
is
was
look
specifically.
Seems like a silly
awful.
idea.
Awful.
It's going to sell a ton, though.
Well, which is the most weird only Japanese people will like this game? Because it's one of the most only Japanese people will like this series games that they could do.
Yeah, I think things will improve. It's just going to take time. I just don't think they have to do anything drastic like drop out of
No.
the hardware business or go to the smartphone atmosphere.
And I do think that I think Smash will actually do really well on the Wii U because it's a fighting game. It's like a multiplayer game. And it's a same couch multiplayer game. So for the 3DS, I don't think it would work nearly as well as being able to look at the same screen and trash talk. And just that is one genre where same room multiplayer, same device, same television has a complete advantage over portable.
Agreed.
Do gamers still do that?
When they can.
Didn't the internet take over completely?
No, my
Oh,
house
goodness.
party, my ugly Christmas sweater party, we popped in Tekken Tag 2.
Oh,
and it
you
was
did that. You white girl.
everyone, I know. But I mean, everyone was in my room. We were all playing Tekken Tag and yelling at each other. Like, it was awesome. Like,
Was that
people
credit card
totally-
commercial based on you?
What credit card commercial?
The one of all those happy white people getting the ugly Christmas sweaters for a party.
See this, Will? See this, Will?
Oh no. Yeah, compared to Virtual Boy and N-Gage and Jaguar, I think Wii U is doing pretty okay.
What's a Jaguar?
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
never heard of
3DO,
I've never
PSP
heard
Go,
of I have one. I have a PSP Go.
the Atari Lynx. I think Nintendo's going to be fine in the long run. Who knows what they might actually. I don't know. Could you see them dropping the Wii U after a year or two?
I
No.
could.
Maybe.
Maybe they won't
Nah, I
have
think
a
that's
choice.
too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon?
That's too soon. They have a bunch of games in 2014 that's coming out.
Do they? Because their reserve list is about that long.
Because I'm trying to think, what are they going to show at trade shows next? Probably everything they already announced. Shin Megami
Right.
Tensei, Smash Brothers, the new Zelda, most likely. They got to reveal the new Zelda at this point.
If they announce
The
Metroid,
new
please
Zelda.
forgive us.
What was that, Will?
If they announce Metroid, please forgive us. That'd be something.
Developed by Retro Studios. I think that's a
Yes.
mistake, is moving Retro over to 2 Donkey Kong games in a row.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, God.
know
what? Donkey Kong, but not that much.
Donkey Kong Country Returns was good. I would be happy if Retro didn't do the next Metroid if Platinum did. Let's see Metroid Rising.
Oh God! I thought that was Other M's attempt at the Metroid action game.
Okay, I take that back. No.
I want to go back to either Super. I mean, they should do what they did with Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Super Metroid 2. Just call it that.
I want Star Fox Adventure 2.
Ooh, no. I want Star Fox 64 too. Thank you.
Yes.
I want both.
God, yes.
I do think they're going to definitely drop, almost definitely drop, Majora's Mask 3D. Like they all but they all but had a credit sting at the end of Link to the Past saying that, or
Yeah.
Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we all want all these sequels to games we've played thousands of times before, but yet we still want the new IPs.
We're everything that's wrong with gamers.
Here, okay, no, wait, here's the
We're
here's the
hardcore
thing.
gamers. We don't know what we want.
No, to go back to what you just said, Tim.
Yeah.
They're giving us the sequels we don't want.
They're the sequels we need, not the sequels we deserve.
Exactly.
Gosh, I love.
What are some of the third-party games that are coming out this year in 2014?
For the Wii.
Bayonetta.
For the Wii U.
Now Bayonetta is it's in
It's
house
been
now, isn't
bought,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, Bayonetta
That's
still is
Platinum.
platinum. It's just
But
being
then-
published by Nintendo.
Yeah.
They're using Nintendo's money to make it.
Right.
Yes.
That's Nintendo's game. I consider that to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third-party Wii U games.
Third parties and Nintendo, they've always had such a weird relationship. Even back to the NES days, when Nintendo pretty much owned them all, because they were the only ones with the console that was alive in the '80s,
Right.
and they had to
Yeah.
they had to live to Nintendo's code. Like, this has to be good. It cannot be ET for Atari. And now they just
How'd they do that? Do you remember LJN and Ultra and Acclaim?
Well, there was a whole lot of crap in shovelware, but for the most part, things were better than the dark years, than the crash.
Yes, but the Nintendo seal of quality was still the top way of teaching children that people lie.
Yeah, yeah. But there was quality then, and they did really well. Occasionally. And then they jumped ship after the move to they didn't move to CD with Nintendo 64. They stayed on cartridges, and since then it's always been this tug and pull, this struggle. It would be nice if they did what Capcom did back in the GameCube days and actually took a chance and made games like Resident Evil 4 and Okami and what else did they do for GameCube? But the Resident Evil remake. Resident Evil 0. I mean, all third parties did on the Wii U and Wii were just shitty ports of what they had on 360.
Yep.
And PS2 and PS3. I mean,
Well,
in fairness, the GameCube period was Capcom's like one and only glimmering spark of ambition in the last decade.
yeah. That's fair to say. The Capcom 5, remember Dead Phoenix? Whatever happened to that? PN03?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's another one.
PN03 is like one of my favorite games ever. Oh my god.
Yeah, it would be nice if like
Love
they
that
talked to like Square or Capcom and was like, hey, look at what this gamepad can do.
well,
Do something.
Bethesda, I'm reading, like, I have some article up right now, and Bethesda says that it's too late for Nintendo to gather third-party publishers. Every time publishers, according to them, come to them, they're always talking about what they plan to do or what they have in store and da-da-da-da.
It's this
And they haven't come early
whiny...
enough.
It's this whiny sensibility, because then they do have a game on Wii or GameCube, but then don't they complain that, well, Nintendo's first-party games just outsell us like crazy, so why bother making a game on Nintendo anyway?
I don't think that's the only problem. I think Nintendo really needs to start to understand technology outside of their tiny little bubble, because the issue is development at this point, and saying, okay, this is what we know this is what you can do, what we'll let you do, and what the system is capable of. Get to it. And the fact that any kind of online connectivity or any good graphics requires piecing stuff together that no other development ecosystem has, because the other systems have a lot better ways to develop, a lot better environments, it just makes Nintendo systems seem this very weird bubble.
Yeah, and it seems the bubble's burst. And I think they'll pull out. I think they'll
Sorry.
not pull out. I think they will pull out all the stops. That's what I was going to say. It's happened with 3DS. It happened with the Wii. Eventually, we finally got our Super Mario Galaxies and whatever else they had.
Nintendo needs like an in-house division that was kind of like Clover Studios, like a division that was willing to take risks and make, experimental, highly entertaining games that were a little bit outside the norm.
They should just buy Platinum.
They did that with on 3DS. I mean, 3DS has a couple new. They do have new IPs on 3DS.
I actually.
They have Pushmo, Dylan's Rolling Western, Crashmo.
Here's something
Dead
I've
Comment.
never heard of Nintendo doing. Knowing people that work at Sony, knowing people that have done this for EA, Activision, and even Microsoft. Are you guys familiar with the term market testing at all?
Can you enlighten me?
I will. Okay, so what market testing is when a game is in its alpha, its beta, and pre-release boxed state, game developers and publishers, basically they hire people, random people. I think they do like a 1-to-1 male to female ratio. I could be wrong on that, but they get random group of people to play this game. And they pay them and then they ask them all a specific set of questions. I know specifically with Sony, and I'm not going to say exactly with what I know or how I know, they have people play these games, and then they ask them, what they thought about it, what they look for in games. And just by asking these questions, they can tell what needs to be fixed, and also by watching people playing these games and how they approach certain things, they know how to improve. Has anyone ever heard of Nintendo doing something like that? Because I've heard of all companies but them doing that.
Does that improve the game though? Asking what Joe Public wants?
Yes, absolutely. I actually was in one of these before, and when a certain person was watching me play the specific game that I was playing, that person could tell what points in the actual gameplay needed to be adjusted because of the time it took me to do a certain thing or the way I approached something.
See, adjusted to me just means like make a game dumber and easier.
Well, I think
not
Nintendo,
necessarily.
I think Nintendo could have used some of that marketing on market testing on its hardware. Its software is usually pretty ace.
Software. There's nothing wrong with the software as far as not nothing, but
for the most part, the
really
software is pretty damn good. It's the hardware that's the problem. And
the last time they did it was the Wii, because I actually had a friend who did do several different Nintendo hardware market tests, but never for the Wii U.
Nintendo really needs to. What the hell was I going to say? Never mind.
That was awesome.
Sorry, Nintendo.
I have a question for the group.
Nintendo.
Yes, Jeffrey.
We keep hearing how the Japanese market is moving more towards mobile, and that's why games like Monster Hunter is so popular. Do you think Nintendo overlooks putting strong internet features into their home systems because people are gaming on the go and playing online games on the go?
Call the features on the 3DS strong, though?
They're getting stronger. They're getting stronger. You could play Monster Hunter 4 from what I hear online. We will find out if that will be true for U.S. audiences, too. They just added Miiverse, which Will dislikes, but at least...
Does anyone care about Miiverse?
I downloaded it, and then I left a little status saying this blows, and I haven't touched it since.
They took away Swap Note, so that's my replacement for Swap Note. That was cool.
That's why they don't do internet. I just realized. Swap Note and Miiverse. If there's any technology that lets you draw a dick and show it to other people through a connection, Nintendo can't do that. That's why they're anti-internet. It explains everything.
Yeah.
Because they're protecting the children and don't know how to enable parental control.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, did that answer your question? Should we go back to that?
No, the Japanese market is much different than ours.
It's much different. That's why things like Spot Pass don't register as a problem to them, because in Japan it's not a problem. In Tokyo, you're gonna get 200 Spot Passes a day probably during your commute. They do need to leave their I was gonna say tiny island.
Oh.
That's racist.
No, metaphorically, they're the island that they're stuck in.
I think Nintendo represents what Japan really is.
It feels
full of kids and plumbers.
giant robots.
No, it's very insular.
Yeah, isolated. But oh god, that's a whole other can of worms. What? So David Jaffe is a guy whose games I don't really care for, but I love his quotes. He said something. He says Disney needs to buy Nintendo. What do you think?
That's all he
No.
said.
No.
That's all he said. It's just Disney needs to buy.
Well, here's his
Nintendo.
quote. I
No.
say this with love as a fan of Nintendo, but if I was Nintendo, I'd be sitting my ass down trying to figure out how to sell my company to Disney. Because if you look at sort of what they have done, sort of the reverence they've had towards Marvel, if you look at Star Wars and the Lucas brand they've acquired, they clearly understand marketing. They understand their audience. To imagine going to a Disneyland park and having an entire land, something like Nintendo Land, and sort of integrating that into that world and doing more with those brands.
It would be
Yes
amazing,
and no.
but Disney's
Yes and no.
too Western.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But that gets to the core of the problem, being that Nintendo can't market very well. It doesn't necessarily mean that to be bought by Disney, just that Nintendo needs to learn how to market.
I was thinking of that before I read Jaffe's quote. I was in New Jersey has a lot of malls, so I was at the mall the other day, and I walked by the Disney store, and I was like, "There's nothing else like this Disney store.
No.
Where's the Square store? You know, like Disney and Square came together to do Kingdom Hearts. So where's the Square store? Where is the Nintendo store? There is one in New York, but nothing else like that. Like they do need that in-your-faceness that Disney has. They had
But
Do
I
they
mean,
really, do they really
Disney, the
need
Lucas
that?
Well, I think they right now when you think video games, you don't think Nintendo anymore. Like when you think animation or movies or cartoons, it's
Pixar.
Disney,
Pixar.
which is owned by Disney.
Yeah, but it's not like the same legacy as maybe 10 years ago. It's
No,
changed a little bit, and just Disney was smart enough to buy Pixar.
but if they branched out and became an entertainment company, like with Mario,
Mhm.
the Mario cartoon show, but not like the one in the '90s. I mean,
No, they should bring that back. If
They-
if they started showing the Super Show on like Disney XD, I'd get cable again.
really?
But none of that marketing would fix the core problem.
Yeah.
Where are the games? Where's the fresh hardware? Where's the internet?
That's all the stuff that matters most. Yeah.
That would
They
just
need
be
to.
icing on a rotten, dissolving cake.
I'm not arguing with that. You're correct. But ideally, they would have been already at that stage already after the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in the whole lead up to the Wii U, I kept asking Nintendo every time I could, will there be an online service? Will you actually offer something comprehensive? I never got an answer, and the answer we got finally was, not really. Like, and if you say Miiverse, you're an idiot.
Thank you. I'm not. I think Miiverse. When I first tried it out, I was really disappointed. But then I was like, oh, it's Nintendo, so I'm not that disappointed because I knew what to expect.
Let's find
Oh.
something less useful to humanity than Twitter.
When I do,
Hey. I love
Really?
Twitter.
it is pretty useless.
No.
Facebook is in trouble too, apparently.
Oh,
So it's not just Nintendo. And I'd be curious to see how sales for PS4 and Xbox One continue. Like,
according to Game Industry International Business Analysis, the PlayStation 4 will outsell the Xbox One 16% through the year 2016.
I think all three companies are lucky that they botched their respective console releases, because there's no
Yeah.
clear winner, and that's the only thing
No.
keeping any one of them from crashing and burning.
it's interesting. They all, yeah, Jeff.
I'll say that Sony and Microsoft are fortunate they have such rabid fans, because really there's nothing at launch that warrants the price of those consoles.
No, and Sony's lucky in general because all of their successes are because other companies fail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone
They're
stepped
doing well
backwards
because of everyone
except
else.
for them.
Yeah.
Here's the difference: is Sony and Microsoft know what the internet is.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't have Mario and Zelda, which doesn't matter anymore. But whatever.
Have Halo and
But at this
PlayStation
point in time right now, in January 2014, you have, let's say you have $500 to spend, based purely on library and software. Would you buy
iPad?
an Xbox One, PS4, or Wii U? Based solely on software, not internet features.
Oh, Wii U by far.
I'd get a PS3 and a 3DS.
I just bought a Wii U, so I would go Wii U, actually.
Yeah. Gabriel and I are brand new Wii U owners.
Yeah.
Gabe, I'm
I'd
curious.
buy a PC.
With $500.
I intend to.
That is the correct answer, actually. It's
That
a
is
question.
It's the correct answer. I just got a gaming PC recently, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what have I been doing for the
Yeah, but
last
then you're
6
going to be
years of
complaining
my life?
that GTA 5 isn't on here and MGS 5 isn't on there.
Fucking
You're going to be
pirate,
complaining that you can't
whatever.
play console games on your PC? Is that what it is?
I can.
Where's my console ports?
I can.
I have...
Yeah, and then you get the ports and then you hate them and complain the game's too hard. And
Which is funny because 80% of games actually start out being made on PC and then are actually ported for console. Assassin's Creed 4 made on PC first. All those Xbox One games, PC. Battlefield 4, PC.
Killer Instinct.
PC.
So,
64.
what can be done to save Nintendo? Let's cap this on a note that's uplifting. What can be done to raise them up?
Mailing them a copy of Zen
better
and the Art of the
online.
Internet.
Will, repeat that?
Mailing them a copy of Zen and the Art of the Internet.
Right.
Is that a real thing? Is that released by Disney? Is Winnie the Pooh on the cover?
Oh, you know it. Hold on.
Goodbye.
Did you see him jump off the couch? That was like the highlight of my night.
Damn.
Well, I think short term, they gotta unify the Wii U and 3DS purchases. They gotta make an account system.
Exactly.
If possible, they gotta overhaul the Wii U OS, because navigating that thing is awful. And if you transport all your Wii Virtual Console games, or even just put a Wii disc, like Super Mario Galaxy 1 in the Wii U, it has to boot up the original Wii OS.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense to me. If they could find some way to fix that, that'd be great. They need to set up release dates for every game they have announced, even if they get delayed. That's fine, because they're Nintendo games. They're going to get delayed. But to have some kind of date would be nice. 3DS, just stay the course. Keep releasing these awesome games. Long term, release.
Make the eShop not shitty.
Make the eShop not shitty. Make deals with third parties. Do something to make them not like Nintendo again. Do I guess hardware-wise, bleh. I think a handheld console hybrid. Something like Vita TV, I guess, is what Will keeps talking about. Something you could take on the go and hook up to your
Sony
TV.
still hasn't confirmed yet for the U.S., which is stupid.
Something like Eric Kane on Forbes made some kind of theory about a 3DS HD. That sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, I think whenever the time may be, I think they just need to make a new console with contemporary hardware and just pray that they can break even with the Wii U.
Any other theories or ideas?
I think you said it all, Tim. I mean, you and Isaac touched on the major points. They need games. They need more powerful hardware. Those are the things that are holding them back from the audiences. And they're not riding that Wii high anymore.
Here it is.
They're back down to normal levels of sales. And what's this?
What?
Oh, this is the first published user guide of sort of the internet from 1992. I didn't just make it up.
Oh my god!
Can we address this to Nintendo and mail it to them? Let's do that. That'd be our personal
We
project.
should do that.
Oh my god!
That would be great.
I don't even. I was gonna say something and then Will completely. I was gonna say long term new blood. I mean, I love Reggie, I love Iwata, but they need maybe not necessarily someone to replace them, but consultants, someone temporary, even to just come in and go look.
Agreed.
What it looks like from the outside. this is what we need to do to get back on track.
We need to send Reggie Indiwata 1 year PSN Plus and Xbox Live Gold. Send them that.
God.
Tell them study this.
Do you guys? I think we should make a copy
And some
of that
Steam
book and
credit.
do so. I'll pitch in.
But for free. We want it all, but for free. No subscription fee.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You fucked us enough, Nintendo.
Yeah. All right.
I'll pay a subscription as soon as I actually have an account I know will track my purchases.
Yes,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. My entire
I'll pay for that.
game library on 3DS is on my 3DS.
Yeah.
When I go outside with that thing, I'm like, I hope this is still with me in my pocket.
And I'm one of the ambassadors, so I have like the who like bought it before the price drop. So I have those like 10 NES games that like never really trickled to the virtual console.
Oh, and GBA games.
Yeah.
Release your GBA games.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Yes.
seriously.
Release like
Even other GBAs. Where's
Castlevania, Circle of the
Yes.
Moon.
Aria of Sorrow.
And did someone
Advanced
else
Wars.
just say Circle of the Moon? Who else said Circle?
Well,
Oh my god, I love you. We just became best friends.
Game.
And Advance Wars.
I
Yeah.
did love Advance Wars.
And Aria of Sorrows.
Yeah, the one with cute Dracula.
Fishy Dracula.
Vishy Drac, exactly. Yeah.
I
No,
really
no, Nintendo. Wait, you know what you need to do, Nintendo? Listen to me, Nintendo. Become one with me right now. Look into my eyes and do us all a favor and remake Pokemon Crystal. For the children, Nintendo. For the children.
well
Oh.
they remade Gold and Silver and it was excellent.
Yeah,
It was.
Soul Silver, was it me or was it like the hardest Pokemon game you've ever played ever?
I
yeah,
loved it.
because he went through like 2 regions and then had to fight Red, the
Oh,
most beast
so-
trainer,
Oh, so hard.
before he had to
I
go on
loved
to
it.
fight people in Art of Fighting.
Oh yeah. They have Pokemon. They're gonna be okay. As long as
But
those games keep
there's
selling.
no Pokemon on consoles though.
Yeah. And
I
with like
think-
Skylanders and stuff like that, like Pokemon Rumble U, where they was like, oh yeah, check it out, we have NFC
Yes.
figures. That was them fucking up Royal. That was them missing a
Pokemon
gold
Snap
opportunity.
2.
Yeah.
Pokemon Snap 2, I
Snap
would
2, for
snail
sure.
trail my way.
Pokemon
to
Snap
Target
True.
and be like a Neo Wii U. Just give it to me.
Pokemon Snap 2 with AR figures you can purchase for a couple bucks a pop. Like blind figures or like on the pegs. Just like go the Skylanders route, but don't half-ass it like they did with Rumble U.
Okay, let's say good luck to Nintendo and call it an episode. You could find 2DX. You could find everything we do on 2DX at 2DX on Twitter, and you can find me at Pleased to Meet Ya. Gabe, where can we find you?
You can find me at 2dx.com as well as on examiner.com and on Twitter at DracoZombie.
You can find me at 2dx.com. You can find me managing the Facebook and Twitter handles, trying to be witty and whatnot. And you can also find me on Twitter, Jokerman Uno, and it's UNO. It's not the number 1.
You can find me at Jeffrey L. Wilson. Very simple. My name.
Well, I'm not very simple. You can find me at Digital Vixen. That's digital_VIX3N.
Leet.
You can find me at AgroWill at Twitter, and also I ride the rails from time to time trying to find the heart of America.
You should see the movie Hard Times. Charles Bronson, you'll like it. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching and listening.